So, Lauren Chehardy, why don't you tell us what happened this past election season last week?
Well, it certainly was an historic election with President Obama winning re-election. Um, we've heard talk, and as we typically do after political campaigns, of the losers, in this case the Republicans and Governor Romney, talking about how they just didn't get their vote out. Well, the fact of life is that's what elections are all about, is getting voters out. And the guy who wins is the guy who gets his voters out. And the guy who wins is the guy who does the best campaign to turn out voters. And in this case, it was President Obama and his campaign that did an incredible job of getting his voters to the polls and getting them out to vote. So they deserve the credit for winning the election, as most people who are victorious deserve the same kind of credit.
Now, some people would argue that it wasn't really an issue of getting out the vote, but it was an issue of just repudiating certain, say, political philosophies, those from the extreme right and those from the extreme left. And I'm just wondering whether or not you feel like there's any basis to that.
No, I don't think repudiation is the right is the right expression at all. I mean, if you want to look at it and try to look at both sides, you can find pluses and minuses on both. For example, President Obama did not receive the same percentage of vote that he received 4 years ago. He received less of a vote than he did 4 years ago. So if you want to be critical, you can say, well, he's lost support. Certainly, he still had enough support to get reelected, and that's all that counts. Is do I have enough votes to get elected? The Governor Romney's campaign, certainly there are criticisms that can be made of the campaign, but there are also criticisms that can be made of the Obama campaign. Both sides, for example, have a lot of things they said that they wish they could take back, both on the presidential level as well as on the vice presidential level.
Sure. Now, right now, there is some people who apparently didn't listen or not listening to the people. That's my opinion. And those are individuals who are saying that that the different states, such as Louisiana and Texas, should divorce themselves from the union. And I'm just wondering, I know Governor Jindal of Louisiana has called that silly, and what's going on? How are we going to be able to engage in some of the meaty issues, such as say the fiscal cliff, if you have, say, one side or two sides just not willing to come to the table at all?
Well, as far as the secession is concerned, I think that's silly. There's always going to be people that are going to have radical ideas, whether it be the far right or the far left. But talking about seceding from the union is silly, and it's so silly. I don't even know the words to put to it. With regard to the fiscal cliff, look, you're going to have the issue. There's already some very liberal members of the Senate who have said that President Obama should stick to his guns and raise taxes on the rich in this country, even though the rich, the top 1%, are paying close to 40% of all the income taxes already. But they say stick to your guns. That's the other, another extreme on the other side. Look, the American people want one thing. They want the government of this country to work. They want their elected officials to work with each other to make things work, to make government work. And that is the job that Congress has, to sit down, work out a compromise. This is not a dictatorship. This is not a monarchy where one person makes a decision. This is a representative form of democracy where all of our representatives, from Louisiana to Washington State to Massachusetts to Texas and Florida and across this country, have to come together, put down what they think needs to be done, and go item by item and work out a compromise. If they don't do that, we are going to fall off the fiscal cliff. And my opinion, the entire lot of Congress would be to blame, including the president. And it would be cause in my book to turn everybody out, because there's no reason for us not to get over this fiscal cliff in a meaningful way. And hopefully Congress and the president will get that message and have gotten it in the election. If they stand their ground and dig their heels in, nothing's going to happen, and this country's going to be in dire economic straits.